In today's video, we are going to attempt solving some examples on converting exponential forms to radical forms. Before we go ahead and start solving, let's go through a particular law of indices. And it says a to the power m over n is equals to the nth root of a raised to the power m. So here we can say n, which is the denominator in the fraction, is the index number, and then m, which is the numerator, is the exponent. So if you look on the left-hand side, that is written in an exponential form with a radical exponent. And then when you look at the right-hand side, this is written in a radical form. So let's take our first example, which is x to the power 1 over 5. Now, in solving this, we already have 5 as our index number. So our answer here is simply the fifth root of x to the power 1. Now, for another example, which is x to the power 3 over 8. Since 8 is the denominator in the fraction, we can say 8 is our index number. So our answer here is simply 8, the 8th root of x to the power 3. For another example, which is y to the power 4 over 5, we can say, since 5 is the index number, the answer here is simply the fifth root of y to the power 4. Now, these are simple ways on converting exponential forms to radical forms, but it can be kind of more complicated when you solve having a negative exponent. For example, when you have x raised to the power negative 3 over 2. In order to solve this, we have to make x to the power negative 2 over 3 a denominator. That is to get rid of the negative power. So when we do that, we have 1 over x to the power 3 over 2. So we have to solve the denominator and convert that into a radical form. So when you solve the denominator, we have 2 as the index number, so this is simply the square root of x cubed. Now, let's take another example which has a negative exponent. This one goes like this, y to the power negative 5 over 7. So just as we did before, making y to the power negative 5 over 7 the denominator, we have 1 over y to the power 5 over 7. So since 4 is the denominator, our answer here is simply 1 over the fourth root of y to the power 5. So this is how to solve when you have a negative exponent. Now let's take some more examples. And this example the exponent is in decimal form. Let's say x to the power 3.5. Now if you notice, 3.5 is a decimal number. And in order to solve this, we have to convert it into a fraction. So how do we do this? You can go ahead and pause this video and try solving it by yourself. Now, in order to convert 3.5 into a fraction, we have to multiply it by 10 and then divide it by 10. So if you did it like this, you're actually right. When you multiply 3.5 by 10, you have 35. And we have 35 over 10. Now the next step is to divide through by 5. Dividing 35 by 5, you have 7. Dividing 10 by 5, you have 2. So when we bring that back into our equation, we have x to the power 7 over 2. So since 2 is the index number, which is the denominator in the fraction, our answer here is simply the square root of x raised to the power 7. Now let's take another example with a decimal exponent. And this goes like this, x to the power 3.2. Now converting 3.2 to a fraction, we have to do the same, which is multiplying it by 10 and then dividing it also by 10. So when we multiply 3.2 by 10, we have 32. And we have 32 over 10. So what do? We divide through by 2. Dividing 32 by 2, you have 16. And then dividing 10 by 2, we have 5. So we have 16 over 5. I'm bringing that back into our question. we have x to the power 16 over 5. Now, since 5 is the index number, we have the fifth root of x to the power 16 as our answer. Now, let's take another example, and it goes like this: y to the power 2.8. In order to convert 2.8 to a fraction, we have to multiply it by 10 and also divide it by 10. Multiplying 2.8 by 10, you have 28. So we have 28 divided by 10. Now, what do? We divide through by 2. Dividing 28 by 2, you have 14, and dividing 10 by 2, you have 5. So bringing that back into our equation, we have y to the power 14 over 5. Now, since 5 is the index number in the fraction, since 5 is the denominator in the fraction, is the index number. So we have simply the fifth root of y to the power 14. Now, since we have learned how to convert from exponential form to radical form, let's learn how to convert from radical form to exponential form. That is like doing the inverse of what we have learned. So if, for example, we have, let's say, the square root of 8. As you can see, there is a 2 behind the square roots. That is why it's a square root. And then 8 is raised to power 1. So our answer here is still simple. Is equals to, since 2 is the index number, is going to be the denominator in the fraction. So we have 8 to the power 1 over 2 as our answer. Another example, which is the cube root of x. So x is not just there, x is raised to the power 1. So 3 is the index number, so it's going to be the denominator in our fraction. So our answer here is simply x to the power 1 over 3. Now let's take one more example. And this one goes like this: the square root of 6x to the power 8. You can go ahead and pause this video. Honestly, I would like to see your answers in the comment section. Now, to solve this is quite simple. We have to split the number that are under the square root, which is 6 and x to the power 8. So the answer can just go like this: 6 to the power 1 over 2 multiplied by x to the power 8 over 2. Or we can write it as 6x raised to the power 8 or raised to the power 1 over 2. So that can also be our answer. For this way, I'm going to stop on solving these examples. You can find other examples and practice more. Good luck in whatever exams you're preparing for. Until next time, bye.